Hello Wolfpack. We're going to be looking at SXP today, or Swipe, on the USD chart on the daily, and then the USD chart on the weekly, and the Swipe Bitcoin chart on the weekly as well. Now Swipe, essentially what Swipe is, it's pretty well known because it's pushed by Binance, and Binance has a massive stake in Swipe essentially. So Swipe is a network in which you can basically order a debit card, a crypto debit card, very similar to crypto.com, if anyone knows about that. So obviously it's got a lot of scope. In the future, if mass adoption takes place, the more cryptocurrency gets adopted, the more people are going to want to be spending cryptocurrency on an everyday basis, and that's going to be in line with having a crypto debit card where you can spend your crypto in the same way you would with fiat currency. Obviously, they offer things like incentives like cash back. For example, they have one on Netflix right now where if you pay with your swipe card using Netflix, you get 100% of the Netflix subscription back in Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency, potentially Swipe as well. I'm not exactly sure on that. But there are incentives to having this. The only thing is you do have to be staking a certain amount of Swipe, or you do have to pay a certain amount. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but you can't just get the card for free like you would from a bank. So that's the only downside to it, but there are many upsides, including getting cash back in cryptocurrency. But regardless of all of that, it's definitely got a potential in the future, and especially in this bull market, potentially as more people come to the market, more people get interested in crypto, more people are going to want that option to be able to spend crypto directly from a Visa card. And one thing just before I get into the analysis of the TA, if you're going to invest in Swipe, I'd highly recommend investing in crypto.com as well. The reason why I think that is because I think hedging your bets in this market is very important. If Swipe, by a stroke of luck or whatever you think will happen, Swipe does have a chance of failing. And if Swipe fails, the chances are its main competitor, crypto.com, is going to succeed. Obviously that goes vice versa as well. So always hedge your bets in the market, always look for competition and invest in the competition. That's what I like to do in my personal trading strategy. So if one of them fails, you've still got the other one ready to go. So essentially on Swipe, we saw this big run up from the bear market lows of around 900%, so 9x, almost a 10x. What we can say on Swipe as well, if we go to the CoinMarketCap chart, it only came out in 2019. And another thing we can say about Swipe as well is that seeing as it's pushed by Binance heavily, that's got one of the biggest exchanges, actually the biggest exchange on its side. So when the euphoria is going to kick into the market, when people are coming into the market like crazy, which will happen again in a couple of months, you're going to have the biggest crypto exchange pushing this coin on the front page, of the exchange. So that's obviously going to gather a lot of attention, and that's a benefit because it's like Swipe being in the top 100 or the top 10, when in fact it's 108th. But because of the fact it has the extra marketing from Binance itself, it has the same effect as being in the top 10. It's in people's faces constantly in the same way that Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Ethereum's in people's faces. So people are more likely to purchase the coin. In terms of TA, we ran up that 10x or 9x, and we consistently made, if we bring over the brush, higher highs here in the bull market and higher lows as well. So obviously a very bullish structure. We saw, pretty hefty corrections along the way, but they were healthy corrections, 30, 40% corrections while Bitcoin's dropping is very healthy. When Bitcoin dropped in the May capitulation here, we dropped down pretty massively and swiped 77%. Mediocre drop, but it was a little bit more of an average in the average altcoins. However, we were we did compensate by not dropping that far down in the range bound construction here. We can see we entered this descending channel, which is a bullish formation. We dropped into our buying range where we released a trading signal here on our Telegram group, so go ahead and join that in the link for description if you're interested in that. We're currently up 163% from that trading signal, so that's beautiful profits there. But regardless, we hit that major support zone. This support zone up here flipped to resistance, and we managed to break out of that as Bitcoin had, this massive run up in the last few weeks. And, we've seen, I'm not going to count these, but probably 20 or, 15 green candles and only 3 red candles in the last couple of weeks. So in the last few weeks. So it's very bullish on Swipe. If we bring up some indicators here, we can see we've flipped the 50-day SMA and the 200-day SMA on the daily. We've flipped that Gaussian channel. It's about to flip green. We've flipped the Ikomoku cloud. We're riding up the 7-day SMA here for support. We've retested that multiple times, and we haven't fallen below yet. Obviously, we can expect to fall below eventually. Healthy corrections are part of the market, but so far it's just going beautifully. And the bull market support band, which is the 21-week EMA and the 20-week SMA, completely flipped. So automatically you can see here on Swipe that every single, I mean that quite literally every single, major long-term to medium-term MA is flipped. So we're in a full uptrend here on Swipe. Even if we correct downwards, a certain amount, let's see, even if we correct downwards almost, 16%, 17%, we will still be above every single long-term and medium-term SMA. So we're looking great on Swipe, and we're looking like this upwards momentum is just going to continue here. As you can see, if we look here on the longer-term scale, we've got a nice rounding out formation, which indicates that the selling pressure is turning over to buying pressure as people, become less confident in seeing lower prices and they start FOMOing back into the market. If we look at the Bitcoin pair, not really much to say on the Bitcoin pair, but I just wanted to bring it up briefly because it is kind of important. The thing with Swipe is that it hasn't seen a bull market before, so we don't really have that much data on the Bitcoin pair. We can definitely expect it to go above its all-time high due to the fact that this was made in a bear market. So when we see that altcoin season that we're expecting, in a few months, Swipe will definitely be exceeding its all-time high here. And the benefit about Swipe is that it's got a lot of room to run upwards, and it's got almost nowhere to go to the downside, which means there's very little risk for very high reward. We've got a support zone down here, but underneath here, we haven't seen any prices below this support line below us. So the chances of dropping below there in the middle of a bull run, in the middle of an altcoin season, are practically zero, in my opinion. And the chances of going up are obviously higher than zero. So it's a great risk-reward ratio in terms of the Bitcoin pair. If we look on the weekly chart, and we can start making price predictions here on the weekly chart, just before we do that, we can see on a longer term scale as well, we're also making higher lows here, which means that there's a gradual uptrend. We can expect that to continue in the future with higher lows. So we're seeing an uptrend lasting almost 2 years here on Swipe, which is just brilliant to see. And we can see if we zoom out, I've got my price prediction on Swipe here. And my price prediction for the end of a bull market on Swipe, a lot of people are screaming $100 swipe, $150 swipe, $1,000 swipe. I don't like to feed into that too much because I like to stay conservative. I like to act on things that I think are actually realistic to happen, not things that are off chances. Yes, Swipe could 100% reach $100. It could do that, of course. If, something happens, Crypto.com goes down, or Swipe just, miraculously just takes the lead and, sell all of the crypto cards, and Crypto.com's not even a competition anymore. Yes, 100 USD for sure, but I like to rely on the fact that everything stays the same. In terms of Swipe being below Crypto.com, everything stays the same. Yes, Swipe gets some traction. As we can see here on the if we just bring up Bitcoin in our minds real quick, we can see that Bitcoin reached a peak of 64K. And I'm expecting Bitcoin to reach 120K to 150K. So that's a 2x. And then altcoins, typically 3x to 4x when Bitcoin 2x's, because altcoins have higher returns. They also have higher drops, but they have higher returns. So assuming that, we can kind of predict that Swipe's going to reach $18 to $25 this bull market. That's my personal prediction. Obviously, that's not financial advice. It could go higher, but that's a good region where I'd be looking to take profits. And at the end of the day, can you really complain with, a 6x on your investment? I don't think you can. What other asset class is going to get you that kind of profits? Nothing. So there's no point me here sitting here and telling you guys it's going to reach 100 USD when in reality, that could happen, but I'd rather be conservative. I'd rather, have something in my mind that's actually more achievable and, rather take profits before it, drops hard when you're anticipating that 100 USD. So that's been the Swipe analysis, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something about Swipe, added it to your watch list, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.